Tonight, on First at 9 this Saturday the 15th of November 2025. Budget battle. Parliament debates surge in presidential expenditure. Opposition alleges hypocrisy and unfulfilled pre-election promises. The Great Divide. MPs representing the estate sector hail the government's unprecedented allocation for estate workers. GMOA meanwhile deliberates union action over unentertained budget demands. Realpolitik. SLPP's Namal Rajapaksa meets TNA acting secretary ahead of the opposition rally. M.A. Sumanthiran and S. Rasamanikya meanwhile call on the Indian High Commissioner in Colombo. United effort. Prime Minister urges unified effort across sectors to empower local entrepreneurs amid digital economy transformation.
Kalin baby so rupial anuwakata. Kalin baby podi hamotamai.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9 on Derana News channel. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world, brought to you by the only Sri Lankan media network to rise to the pinnacle across all media platforms, recognized as the best by every survey and beloved by the people. Now, your top story tonight. Today in Parliament, debates heated up over presidential expenditures and claims of good governance. Concerns were raised over the 12 billion rupee allocation for the presidential expenditure ahead in the 2026 budget, with the opposition highlighting high per-minute costs and expanded security measures. Meanwhile, comparisons with former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's budget shows significant reductions in recurring expenditure and overseas foreign costs under the current administration, yet questions remain over uninvestigated corruption cases and key administrative decisions.
මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ වැඩියෙන්ම කතා කරපු ශීර්ෂය තමයි ජනාධිපතිගේ වියදම්.
The JVP has frequently raised concern within this house of the president's expenditure head. On previous occasions, the incumbent president himself questioned the necessity of 5,000 rupee notes, highlighting the total cost incurred per minute and per day for the purpose. He went on so far as to criticize the very function of the head of state if public funds were being squandered in such a manner. Yet now, through the budget 2026, the same president has allocated 12 billion rupees to fund presidential overheads, the highest allocation for the presidential expenditure head in the nation's history. According to the JVP, the president's cost per minute amounts to 21,000 rupees or 5,000 rupee notes. For the first time, we now see at least 15 security officers deployed at the canteen. Why is that? Please change this. This stands in complete contradiction to the statements made in the lead-up to the election. What has changed now? It was the JVP that once shaped public opinion on these very matters, and today they are being criticized for benefiting from the same privileges they once condemned. Yesterday, the leader of the House claimed that certain decisions are being made by the NPP head office. I urge the Speaker of Parliament to not be influenced or directed by the NPP headquarters. I further request the government to grant vehicle permits to judges, as many lack proper transport facilities and vehicles in use at the moment are in poor condition. If not permits, then at least provide them with cabs. There are 4 designated official residences in the country, one of which is the Speaker's residence. That residence must be occupied by the Speaker, and no one, not even the Speaker himself, can decide otherwise.
දැන් ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්න දීලා තියෙන ඔබතුමාට. ඒක කාටවත් දෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ. ඔබතුමාට තීන්දුවක් ගන්නත් විදියක් නැහැ. ඒක කාටවත් දෙනවයි කිය.
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මම උත්සාහ කරා මේ සතිය.
Throughout the past week and even this morning, I have made an effort to understand the rationale behind the various accusations the opposition has levelled against the government. I repeatedly turned to the 2 MPs seated beside me to clarify what exactly the opposition is attempting to argue. Yet the reasoning behind their claims seems difficult to grasp.
Remarks were made in this house that the opposition's claims lack a proper rationale. However, I would like to turn that question back to the Prime Minister regarding the pledges made in the lead-up to the elections. They promised to create employment opportunities for at least 35,000 unemployed graduates. Therefore, I ask, what was the logic behind making such commitments before the election, and what is preventing the government after assuming the presidency from fulfilling those promises? MP Dayasiri Jayasekara raised concern regarding the presidential expenditure head. In 2024, a total provision of 40 billion rupees were allocated for then President Ranil Wickremesinghe, though the actual expenditure amounted to only 25 billion rupees. In contrast, the 2025 budget allocated only 9 billion rupees for President Dissanayaka's expenses, of which 5 billion rupees were earmarked for the Clean Sri Lanka initiative and 1 billion for research and development. Through the 2026 budget, 11.3 billion rupees have been allocated for the presidential expenditure head. Of this amount, 6.5 billion rupees will be designated for the Clean Sri Lanka initiative and 1.2 billion rupees for research and development, with the remaining funds allocated primarily for salary payments. In the past, former presidents used the funds from the presidential expenditure head to finance personal overseas trips and indulged in lavish personal lifestyles. I can cite specific examples to illustrate this point. In 2013, 65,000 rupees were spent to purchase religious offerings. In April 2014, 666,000 rupees were incurred for celebrations and Pirit sermons marking Namal Rajapaksha's birthday, and in 2009, 9,270 rupees were spent to laminate and frame a photograph of Shriranti Rajapaksha taken during an official tour to China. Even such expenses were never made through personal accounts. Additionally, in 2014, 356,000 rupees were spent on religious offerings. It is evident that public funds were even diverted for personal religious purposes. There is a striking contrast in Anuradha Dissanayaka's stance before and after assuming the presidency. Previously, he questioned whether MPs truly needed BMWs, suggesting that public transport could suffice for their travel needs. Yet, just 1 year into office, his perspective appears to have shifted. Even the Prime Minister now travels in a luxurious vehicle estimated to cost at least 250 million rupees. I am genuinely astonished as to how such a transformation in attitude can occur. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe had 39 presidential advisers. During his tenure, Akila Viraj Karyavasam received a salary of 4,013,000 rupees as a presidential advisor, Ashu Marasinghe received 3,484,000 rupees, and Uddika Premaratna received 425,000 rupees. Meanwhile, Rosisena Nayaka received 701,000 rupees, while Sagara Ratnayaka was allocated a total of 7,309,155 rupees as salaries. Ranil Wickremesinghe's recurring expenditure during the first 9 months of 2024 stood at 715 million rupees compared to 279 million rupees for the incumbent president during his first 9 months, representing a reduction of 435 million rupees. Fuel costs for President Wickremesinghe during this period amounted to 57.9 million rupees, while President Dissanayaka's fuel costs were 18.9 million rupees. The expenditure of former presidents in the first 9 months of 2024 totaled 66.9 million rupees, which has been reduced to 41.2 million rupees this year. This reduction is expected to continue as certain privileges have been abolished. These changes are both necessary and deliberate. President Wickremesinghe undertook 24 foreign visits, accompanied by 385 individuals, costing a total of 1,007.346 million rupees, that is over 1 billion rupees, in just 22 months. In contrast, President Dissanayaka has made only 8 foreign visits, costing only 14.9 million rupees. Through these measures, we have ensured that good governance prevails in the country.
Good governance.
There are several important points overlooked in the discussion of good governance. Regarding fraud and corruption, it was previously reported that legal proceedings will be initiated against a key government minister. However, no such action has been taken. Concerning the controversial release of 323 containers, although a complaint has been filed with the Bribery Commission, the matter is yet to be investigated or resolved. We requested the formation of a select committee to oversee this issue and even nominated its members, but the Speaker has not yet finalized the matter. Where then is this good governance? Additionally, on the 5th of November, the tenure of the Customs Director General ended, yet his service has been extended for another 6 months, something unprecedented for previous customs employees. Furthermore, MP Bimal Ratnayaka was removed from his position.
ඔබේ සම හඳුනාගෙන ඖෂධීය ශාකසාරමේ Forever face wash එකක් භාවිතා කරන්න.
අප වෙනුවෙන් කැපවූ ලංකාවේ අපේ අංක 1 ජාලය Dialogue
දවටනේ නියම මිල සඳහන් ස්විස්ටෙක් නිෂ්පාදන මිලදී ගන්න. ස්විස්ටෙක් ගන්න ඕන හොඳම තීරණය.
Samagi Janabalawege MPs V. Radhakrishnan and P. Digambaran along with UNP MP Jeevan Thundaman broke away from the rest of the opposition yesterday to vote in favour of the 2026 appropriation bill. Shedding light on their decision to do so, MPs P. Digambaran and V. Radhakrishnan assert that they are pleased by the government's unprecedented move to allocate a whopping 5 billion rupees to boost estate sector wages. However, several trade unions continue to raise concern over unsatisfactory budget allocations proposed by the government, with the Government Medical Officers Association even considering severe trade union actions if their demands remain unentertained.
The second reading of the 2026 appropriation bill was passed in Parliament yesterday with a majority of 118 votes. A total of 160 parliamentarians voted in favour of the 2026 budget, while 42 voted against and 8 abstained. United National Party MP Jeevan Thundaman, Samagi Janabalawege MPs Mano Ganeshan, V. Radhakrishnan and P. Digambaram joined the government to vote in favour of the appropriation bill. In the wake of the bill's passing, SJB MPs V. Radhakrishnan and P. Digambaram shared their thoughts on the matter.
In the past, not a single government earmarked funds for the estate community through the budget. In an unprecedented move, this government allocated 5 billion rupees for the purpose. This decision made us very happy. We are never afraid to give credit where credit is due. Disregarding partisan politics, we took a decision to support a move that will boost wages of estate workers. We voted in favour of the budget since the government hiked salaries of estate workers by 400 rupees. We sit in Parliament because of the votes cast by estate communities. Therefore, we can never stand against any benefit being passed down to them. We will not join the government the way you think. However, we will support good initiatives taken by the government. If we oppose this budget, our constituents will reject us. This is what we explained to the opposition leader. Yes, I will.
Meanwhile, ITAC MP Shanagyan Rasamanikam shed light on his party's decision to abstain from voting for or against the budget.
Our constituents vote for us since we are the only party concerned about a political solution. The President agreed to commence discussions on that front on the 19th or 20th of November. That is why we abstained from voting.
Meanwhile, specialists representing the Government Medical Officers Association convened a meeting in Colombo yesterday. At the meeting, its attendees acknowledged the government's refusal to heed the GMO's budget-related requests. The specialists in attendance also deliberated on the course of action to be taken if the government continues to entertain their requests.
The budget tabled by the government did not cater to our requests. All specialists are disappointed by the budget. Specialist doctors serve the public under immense financial pressure. These doctors especially don't have access to good housing or transport. Furthermore, specialists are levied with back-breaking taxes. We expected some sort of tax relief through this budget, although we never received it. We don't get a fuel allowance, an official vehicle or any other privilege. That is why we hoped the government would provide us some sort of relief by way of an official vehicle or some other transport facility. However, that request has not been entertained. That is not a positive development. If at least the bare minimum is not accorded to us, we will have to resort to a union action as decided by the Central Working Committee. These union actions could even escalate to severe trade union actions under certain circumstances.
Meanwhile, the Ceylon Medical Laboratory Scientists Association raised concern over the government's lack of attention to bridge staff shortages persisting in the paramedical service. Even though 5,500 paramedics are needed to staff the service, 1,250 vacancies remain unfilled at the moment. A key concern here is that close to 400 graduates are still anticipating jobs within the field of medical lab technology science. Although 366 vacancies remain unfilled within this service particularly, the hiring process has been stalled due to legal action taken by certain officers over alleged irregularities in the recruitment examination. However, the Ministry of Health has been very lethargic in initiating efforts to settle this legal matter. The repercussions of these inefficiencies are borne by the innocent public. The Ceylon Teachers Union too voiced its dissatisfaction over Budget 2026, raising concern particularly over the government's decision to cut incentives provided to teachers in the special education service.
The president paid particular attention to students with special needs and disabilities during his budget speech. Although the government seems particularly keen on the matter, the Ministry of Education issued a circular this month revealing a decision to cut down the incentive provided to full-time teachers in the special education service from 10% to 6%. In a startling development, circulars have been issued to reclaim the incentives paid to these teachers in excess of 6% from March this year. We urge the Ministry of Education to please pay this incentive. What is the actual concern here?
Sri Lanka Podujana Peremuna's national organizer Nama Rajapaksa met with the Tamil National Alliance's acting secretary, former parliamentarian M.A. Sumanthiran today ahead of the November 21st opposition rally. Meanwhile, the upcoming rally continued to be the hot topic in the political arena today.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Nama Rajapaksa met with acting secretary of the Tamil National Alliance, former parliamentarian M.A. Sumanthiran.
අපි විපක්ෂයේ විතර පවත්වන රැස්වීම පිළිබඳව එතුමාවත් එතුමාගේ පක්ෂයත් දැනුවත් කරා.
එතුමාගේ මතය මොකද ඔබතුමාලත් එක්ක ගමනක් යන්න එකක වුණාද?
මොකද එතුමාගේ පක්ෂය විසින් තීන්දුව తీරන ගතිය යුතුයි.
දැන් 21 කොහොමද අලුත්ම තත්ත්වය?
ආණ්ඩුව නිසා අසාධාරණයට ලක්.
Many who were wronged and fooled by the government over their false promises and many who have understood the reality of the government are preparing to take part in the rally voluntarily.
In the meantime, the United National Party's working committee convened at the party headquarters in Sirikotha under the patronage of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe last afternoon. We discussed on how we would join the rally on the 21st and how our party will be represented. Approval was obtained accordingly. Former presidents will not take part in the rally. However, all of us will. The party's Deputy General Secretary Harin Fernando is taking all necessary measures with regard to our participation. Things will proceed accordingly. Meanwhile, government and opposition representatives voiced their opinions on the upcoming opposition rally scheduled to take place on the 21st of November.
The government is taking a rather crooked path. This rally will decide whether the government is willing to change course or not. We launched our fight against the Good Governance government from Nugegoda. We ended it by toppling the Good Governance government. This rally too is a similar attempt. I am not naive enough to take their word on their intention to develop the country. This is in fact the same group that is responsible for destroying the country thus far. The Samagi Jana Balavege, as the main opposition party, possesses a political agenda. If other opposition parties decide to hold their own against the government, we wish them luck. We have no reason to oppose such attempts. However, we have not decided to participate as a party. We have no objection towards the rally. They possess the right to organize such rallies. Regardless of our political affiliations, we are willing to work with them collectively to achieve good results at the cooperative elections. The Samagi Jana Balavege will take a decision politically. In the future, they will have to face the consequences of their decision. The announcement of their alliance is merely a show put on for the public. In reality, they had already joined forces. We don't care about the SJB or any other party for that matter. This is not a fact that we should consider. Nobody is talking about it. We will continue to hold power in 2029 and 2039. Discourse on the rally should not be one marred by fear. If the government believes the public still supports them, they should simply hold the provincial council elections.
A General Secretary of the Lanka Tamil Arasukachi M.A. Sumanthiran and parliamentarian Shanakyan Rasamanikyam called on the Indian High Commissioner in Colombo, Santosh Jha, today. The meeting took place at the Indian High Commission in Colombo. In its official X account, the Indian High Commission states that discussions focused on widening Indo-Sri Lanka bilateral relations. Views on recent developments in Sri Lanka's political arena too had been an area of discussion during the meeting.
Do what you do, let the world look up to you, shoot what you see, be who you wanna be. Search with a smile, create your own style. Gemini live, make moments come alive. Be anywhere, rock anytime. With awesome AI by your side. Be anywhere, rock anytime. Be brilliant, be always intelligent. Download fast, stream it all night. One tap, move, everything feel right. Snap it clean, edit like a pro. smarter with Gemini, let the magic flow.
Introducing Samsung Galaxy A17 5G. The power to be always intelligent.
Musa Phoenix Natal Fiesta November 13 සිට 16 දක්වා අනුරාධපුර ස්පුට්නික් ක්‍රීඩා පිටියේදී.
Welcome back. Now, Prime Minister Dr. Harni Amarasuriya invites industry professionals, academia and entrepreneurs to assemble together with the government to strengthen and build the country's digital economy. While addressing the inauguration ceremony of the Global Entrepreneurship 2025 program, the Premier also notes that Digital Task Force has been established to guide proposed education reforms with an emphasis on digital transformation.
The Global Entrepreneurship Week 2025, themed Together We Build, was inaugurated at the Temple Trees premises yesterday. The inauguration ceremony was presided over by Prime Minister Dr. Harani Amarasuriya and was also attended by the Deputy Minister of Digital Economy, Eranga Veeraratna.
An entrepreneur is someone that sees possibilities where others see problems. They don't just build businesses, they build communities, they uplift families and transform nations. We must expand this even in the next year with collaboration with all the other relevant line ministries to make it much broader and also to provide better opportunities for all the entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka. This is the time that this country is in the right path to create the best talent pool in the country and where we see good opportunities around the world to attract FDIs and investments.
Globally, entrepreneurship is recognized not only as a business activity but as a key driver of economic transformation. Every innovative idea contributes, we think, to a broader narrative that Sri Lankans can compete and succeed on the world stage. According to the Global Innovation Index 2024, Sri Lanka is ranked 89th out of 133 economies. The data also indicates that Sri Lanka performs relatively well in innovation outputs, yet our innovation inputs, such as infrastructure, investment, and support systems, remain weak. Although our innovation journey is progressing, there is still considerable room to strengthen how we incubate new ideas and convert them into tangible growth. The Ministry of Youth and Sports reports that the youth population is approximately 5.1 million in our country. Sri Lanka is enjoying a demographic advantage, but one that is rapidly changing, with nearly a quarter of its population in this digitally literate, adaptable and ambitious age. But this is a dwindling demography and we need to make sure that digital literacy is not confined to this population. But we know that the younger generation is eager to engage with emerging technologies, but they face a special challenge with regard to accessing capital, opportunities for investment, shortage of mentorship, and inability to take risks. So we have established a 30-member digital task force for education reform, bringing together experts from education, tech, policy making and private sector. And the main idea behind this task force is to guide the reform process that is taking place in education with an emphasis on guiding the digital transformation in education. One of the things that we are particularly concerned with when we are going through this transformation is that we ensure that we provide these opportunities equitably and that this transformation takes place in all parts of the country. 2026 national budget demonstrates our government's strong commitment to advancing the digital economy and entrepreneurship. Over rupees 25 billion has been allocated for digital economy investments, including rupees 1.5 billion earmarked for a startup to support youth and emerging entrepreneurs. So now we need to move from isolated initiatives to a coordinated national movement. Government, industry, academia, and entrepreneurs must also work together. Our priorities remain clear: ecosystems, education, inclusion, and policy alignment and coherence.
Taking you to your weather-related updates, the Department of Meteorology forecasts that heavy showers exceeding 100 millimeters are likely at areas within the northern and eastern provinces tomorrow. The department attributes the prevailing inclement weather patterns to the persisting low-level atmospheric disturbance to the east of the island. Accordingly, the department notes that showers or thunder showers are expected from several areas in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the Sabaragamu, central, southern and Uva provinces. Meanwhile, misty conditions are expected at areas within the western, Sabaragamu, central and southern provinces during the early hours of tomorrow. Welcome back. Now in your business news, a gazette notification was issued amending the maximum retail prices imposed for canned fish effective from today. Via the gazette notification issued, the Consumer Affairs Authority updated the maximum retail prices of several types of canned fish. The gazette notification issued under Section 20, subsection 5 of the Consumer Affairs Authority Act No. 9 of 2003 as amended, prohibits any local manufacturer, packer, distributor or trader from selling, displaying or offering for sale canned fish above the specified maximum retail prices. Thereby, the amended maximum retail price of a 425-gram can of tuna is priced at 380 rupees per can. A 425-gram can of mackerel is now priced at 480 rupees per can, while a 425-gram can of jack mackerel is priced at 560 rupees per can. In other business news, ground handling provider at the Bandaranaike International Airport, Sri Lankan Airlines Airport and Ground Services expanded its self-check-in service for passengers of commercial airlines ahead of the upcoming winter travel season. The move follows the installation of 20 new self-check-in kiosks at the BIA departure terminal last month, bringing the total to 28. Developed by the Sri Lanka Airlines in-house IT team, the system aims to improve efficiency and enhance the overall passenger experience in support of Sri Lanka's tourism growth efforts. The system allows travellers to complete their check-in process independently, select seats, print boarding passes and generate bag tags in a few simple steps, helping reduce queues and ease congestion at the terminal. That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.